Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's your man Wise, back at it again with another reaction video. All right, now today I'm checking out a video, finally, from PragerU. You guys have asked, and now you are receiving. This is the inconvenient truth about the Democratic Party. A lot of people in the comment section has requested for me to check this video out. I've never seen this before, so I wasn't for sure if it was even something important to check out. But enough people asked for it, so I wanted to do a reaction to, that video there. Please make sure that you guys like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Drop me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you guys, man. And if you could, please make sure that you smash that like button for me, as well as watching this video all the way through to the end. It helps the algorithm. It helps YouTube push this type of content to more people and to those who really need to see this type of content, man. This is important. And without further ado, let me slide the video in. Alrighty, let's go.
When you think about racial equality and civil rights, which political party comes to mind? The Republicans or the Democrats?
Racial equality and civil rights, who comes to mind? I would assume that most black people are going to say Democrats. But just from my own knowledge, I know, Republicans have played a major role when it comes to racial equality and civil rights. That I know that for sure.
Most people would probably say the Democrats, but this answer is incorrect. Since its founding in 1829, the Democratic Party has fought against every major civil rights initiative and has a long history of discrimination.
Wow.
The Democratic Party defended slavery, started the Civil War, opposed Reconstruction, founded the Ku Klux Klan, imposed segregation, perpetrated lynchings, and fought against the Civil Rights Acts of the 1950s and 1960s.
Wait. So the Democratic Party defended slavery, started the Civil War, opposed Reconstruction, founded Ku Klux Klan, imposed segregation, meaning they are the ones that started the segregation stuff. They perpetrated the lynchings, and they fought against civil rights, the Civil Rights Act of the 50s and the 60s. Golly, man, come on.
In contrast, the Republican Party was founded in 1854 as an anti-slavery party. Its mission was to stop the spread of slavery into the new Western territories with the aim of abolishing it entirely. This effort, however, was dealt a major blow by the Supreme Court in the 1857 case Dred Scott versus Sandford. The court ruled that slaves aren't citizens, they're property. The 7 justices who voted in favor of slavery, all Democrats. The 2 justices who dissented, both Republicans. The slavery question was, of course, ultimately resolved by a bloody civil war. The commander-in-chief during that war was the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, the man who freed the slaves.
Wait, Abraham Lincoln was the first Republican president? Are you telling me that every president prior to President Lincoln, they were all Democrats? Okay, I'm learning something now.
6 days after the Confederate Army surrendered, John Wilkes Booth, a Democrat, assassinated President Lincoln. Lincoln's vice president, a Democrat named Andrew Johnson, assumed the presidency. But Johnson adamantly opposed Lincoln's plan to integrate the newly freed slaves into the South's economic and social order. Johnson and the Democratic Party were unified in their opposition to the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery, the 14th Amendment, which gave blacks citizenship, and the 15th Amendment, which gave blacks the vote. All 3 passed only because of universal Republican support.
That I did know. I knew that much. But I'm still learning. I'm still learning stuff. Wow.
During the era of Reconstruction, federal troops stationed in the South helped secure rights for the newly freed slaves. Hundreds of black men were elected to Southern state legislatures as Republicans, and 22 black Republicans served in the U.S. Congress by 1900. The Democrats did not elect a black man to Congress until 1935. But after Reconstruction ended, when the federal troops went home, Democrats roared back into power in the South. They quickly reestablished white supremacy across the region with measures like black codes, laws that restricted the ability of blacks to own property and run businesses, and they imposed poll taxes and literacy tests used to subvert black citizens' right to vote. And how was all of this enforced? By terror, much of it instigated by the Ku Klux Klan, founded by a Democrat, Nathan Bedford Forrest. As historian Eric Foner, himself a Democrat, notes, in effect, the Klan was a military force serving the interests of the Democratic Party. President Woodrow Wilson, a Democrat, shared many views with the Klan. He resegregated many federal agencies and even screened the first movie ever played at the White House, the racist film, The Birth of a Nation, originally entitled The Klansman. A few decades
Wait, The Birth of a Nation original title was The Klansman? Wow, I did not know that.
later, the only serious congressional opposition to the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1964 came from Democrats. 80% of Republicans in Congress supported the bill, less than 70% of Democrats did. Democratic senators filibustered the bill for 75 days until Republicans mustered the few extra votes needed to break the logjam. And when all of their efforts to enslave blacks, keep them enslaved, and then keep them from voting had failed, the Democrats came up with a new strategy. If black people are going to vote, they might as well vote for Democrats, as President Lyndon Johnson was purported to have said about the Civil Rights Act. I'll have them voting Democrat for 200 years. So now, the Democratic Party prospers on the votes of the very people it has spent much of its history oppressing. Democrats falsely claim that the Republican Party is the villain, when in reality, it's the failed policies of the Democratic Party that have kept blacks down. Massive government welfare has decimated the black family. Opposition to school choice has kept them trapped in failing schools. Politically correct policing has left black neighborhoods defenseless against violent crime. So when you think about racial equality and civil rights, which political party should come to mind? I'm Carol Swain, professor of political science and law at Vanderbilt University for Prager University.
Wow. Wow. Holy smokes, man. I knew some of the things about the Democratic Party. I knew they opposed every civil rights bill that ever came across the desk of those in Congress, as well as in the Senate. That I knew. And I knew that Republicans, I knew that the first elected black people into office were Republicans. I did not know that the Democratic Party came about first and the Republican Party was an anti-slavery party. That I didn't know. I learned something today. Wow. No wonder you guys have been saying, you need to check this out. You need to check this out. You need to do a reaction to this. This is information that needs to be taught. This is information that needs to be told, especially to a lot of black folks. I don't think they know this. I don't think they know this. I don't think they know half of this. I've talked to some folks, older black folks, and some of the things, about when the Civil Rights Acts, the Civil Rights Bills, more or less, from the 50s and 60s. I remember having a conversation with one of my uncles who's obviously, a lot older than me, and asking him, did you know this? Did you know this? He's like, no, I didn't know this. Wow. This is information that, one, should be taught in schools, but we know that most of the schools are ran by liberals. And this is information that is not going to be disseminated and shared, the way it should be shared and taught, around the country. I remember learning about the Dred Scott case, not Dred Scott, golly, I cannot remember the case now, that they mentioned. Maybe it was, I think it was the Dred Scott case. I remember that. And I remember learning that is kind of what, extended, slavery, in this country. Ultimately we got to a point to where we had to have this bloody war to fight, against not only, slavery, but, a host of other things, obviously the Confederate nations, trying to, basically separate themselves. The biggest con that I've heard when it comes to the Democrat Party is that the current Democrat Party used to be the old Republican Party, and that there was a flip there somewhere along the lines. It doesn't mention that in this video. I never thought that that was a true statement, but wow. I'm going to have to share this video with some folks, man. I hope you guys share my video with some folks that need to know this information, man. Because a lot of us, man, we've been lied to. I did hear that statement, from Lyndon B. Johnson when he said, hey, by signing this bill, I am going to have these N-words voting Republican for the next 200 years. And he was 100% right. The policies that the left has implemented, especially when it comes to Black people in this nation, they have been a detriment to our communities all around the country. And if you look at the cities that are ran by Democrats, they are some of the worst ran cities in the country. They have some of the worst school systems in the nation. And, the most crime, in the nation. And now I understand why. This is all by design. And now they put Black faces in charge of these places, in charge of these cities. And therefore, if you say something negative, about how these cities are ran, they will call you racist. When in all actuality, they have put Black people in charge of these cities to continue pushing their agenda and their propaganda, and to continue to push these very bad policies. And these are obviously the people that have been bought and paid for, and they don't really care, in my opinion. They don't care about Black people, and they don't care about the uplifting of Black people in this nation. They are there as useful idiots and useful tools for the Democrat Party to keep their foot on the necks, of Black people. So therefore, a lot of Black folks continue to look at these people as the savior that's going to come and save them, not realizing that these are the people that's holding you back and keeping you down. With that being said, I'm gonna wrap the video. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Drop me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you guys, man. I really appreciate all the love and support. And I'll catch up with y'all next time. We out. Peace.